So, you've heard that detoxing is good for the body, but can you detox too well? On today's podcast, I'm answering a question live that was submitted to the Better Belly podcast on just this topic. How do you safely detox? Can you cause estrogen to detox too much out of the body? And how do detox protocols interact with medications? I answer all this and more on today's podcast. Hey friend, welcome to the Better Belly podcast. Do you want freedom from bloating and constipation? Do you find yourself up late at night Googling natural constipation remedies, causes for bloating, or recipes and exercises to help constipation? Are you frustrated with the mind game of trying to figure out what foods are helping or hurting your gut? Hey, I'm Allison, mom, wife, and functional gut health practitioner. At a young age, bloating and constipation were my constants. I didn't know what to do and wished I could just live a normal life focusing on my passions, my job, and my family. I was tired of abdominal pain that woke me up at night and wasting time and money on gut health remedies that just didn't work. Breakthrough moment, the functional medicine and osteopathic approach to gut health. In this podcast, you will find natural remedies for bloating and constipation, practical, doable belly exercises and massages, and debunk the myths about what really is causing your tummy problems. So toss out those laxatives and say goodbye to that embarrassing gas. Your gut health is calling. And just as a reminder, this information is not meant to diagnose, manage, or treat disease. Always consult with your own health practitioner before you make any changes to your health.
Hey, Allison, thanks for taking my question. So I had a question about liver detox and coffee enemas. And so with the push catch system, on which order to take that, would you take both of the supplements before doing a coffee enema? And then after you do the coffee enema, would that interfere with hormones being excreted out of your body and causing an imbalance? Like say, with estrogen, like would your body react to cleansing out all the estrogen too quickly? I heard that from somewhere and I was curious on what your thoughts are and if you've seen that in your practice. Thank you.
Hey friend, thanks so much for leaving a question for the podcast. This is so fun. And to catch people up, this anonymous question is actually coming from my free total liver detox protocol, which I have for free to register for anybody who wants to at betterbellytherapies.com/liver. And there's a link in the show notes if you want to click that and join and see all this gut healing goodness and detoxing that is coming out of this question. Again, that's betterbellytherapies.com/liver, or click the link in the show notes. But she is referring to one of my recommended tactics to helping detox your liver. And if you want to know why should I care about my liver, or do I want to detox my liver, is that relevant for me? Let me just say, if you have problems with your sinuses, with your skin, with gut health, with hormones, PMS, acne, eczema, seasonal allergies, alcohol sensitivity, chemical sensitivities, you name it, there's a lot under that umbrella. You need to detox your liver. And most likely, if you are listening to this podcast, you have some health stuff going on, maybe some gut health stuff going on, then yes, you do need to detox your liver. And it's something you can do super easy, super simple, without any fancy lab testing, anything like that. So her question comes from a tactic that I share called a coffee enema, which some of you may or may not have heard before, which I'll get into, and then pairing it with something called a push catch system. So the coffee enema is an enema, which is a system where you can get liquid into the colon from the actual anus using like a little bag. There's a way to do it. And an enemas historically might be used if you're constipated, but you don't have to be constipated to still benefit from an enema, specifically and especially if the solution isn't just plain water, but it is coffee. And the reason behind this is that coffee has caffeine and a specific form of an acid that actually helps the liver to open up its bile ducts and to start detoxing anything that kind of gets stuck and slimed along the inside of the liver. There's a whole episode on this science that I love with a scientist named Eileen Durfee, and I have linked this podcast episode in the show notes. It's like 45 minutes of intense, awesome science. So if you are kind of like me and you want to know, well, actually, why would that work? Why would I bother putting coffee in my body? The opposite end, because that sounds super odd, go listen to that podcast episode. It's going to answer all of your questions. But if you're on board with this and you're saying, yes, I'm ready, I want to detox my liver in the most powerful way possible, it's going to be the coffee enema and then the push catch system, which is a 2-supplement system. And this is how it works to answer your question, anonymous question asker. So it is going to be, you're going to take the liver sauce, which is in the push catch system, first. It's a liquid. You hold it underneath your tongue, I believe for about 30 seconds to a minute. Double check with the instructions, but that's just so that you get some sublingual absorption into the body. And that starts to prepare your liver to more or less be shaken up. It's the push part of the push catch system. Once you've taken that sauce and let it hold under your tongue for that 30 seconds to a minute, you swallow it, and then you want to start your actual coffee enema. So at this point, your coffee solution should already be in the enema bag or container that you're using. You most likely are somewhere like a bathroom where you have some private space, and then you would do the enema. The ideal amount of time to hold the enema is around 15 minutes, and then you can spend some time evacuating. And then once you're done with that, you would take the second part of the push catch system, which is the catch, which is going to be that black powder that you pour into some water and you drink. And that is what we call a binder. And as you are pushing toxins through your body, because the toxins, I mean, that's a very broad term. It could be heavy metals, it could be hormones, it could be all sorts of things, pathogen, juice that's been in the body. That catch part of the system is going to neutralize that so you don't accidentally reabsorb it. The other benefit is that enema, because you are actually pooping more than you normally would at that moment. It's going to also help minimize you possibly reabsorbing any of those toxins that you just pushed with that liver sauce and with the coffee itself. Again, if you are super into the science like me, go check out that episode that I linked in the show notes. It is from the Myers Detox podcast, and it is the best episode on coffee enemas I personally have ever heard. Okay, so that answers question 1, which is just what's that, with the push catch system and the coffee enema, what's the order? So liver sauce, under the tongue, swallow, then do the coffee enema for that 15 minutes, ideal amount of time. If you can't do it for 15 minutes initially, do it a couple more times, and you'll notice that your ability to hold the coffee enema inside of you is going to increase. And then do that catch system about 30 minutes after you've done the liver sauce is kind of what it's going to shake out to be. Once you've done the binder, you're done. The second question, which I love, this was my favorite part of the question. So after the coffee enema, are you going to push out too many hormones? Are you going to detox too much? Or can you detox too quickly? This is a great question. So typically when we are talking about your body's natural production and balancing of hormones and detoxing, so anything that your body actually does, and then anything that is supporting your body's natural rhythms, like a coffee enema or the push catch system, I've never seen anyone have problems with over detoxing your hormones, because your body is an incredibly smart, intelligent creature, and it knows how to balance itself when it's healthy. Now, there's a lot of caveats to this. So number 1, if you are on medications of any sort, so a thyroid medication might be a common one, or birth control, I would not do this push catch system close to when you take that medication. So if you take, like, thyroid often might be taken in the morning. If you're taking medication in the morning, and we're talking about human-made medication, don't do the coffee enema and push catch in the morning, because you could actually neutralize that medication, and we don't want that. You've been put on that medication for a reason, and even if you're trying to get healthier, we don't want to accidentally cause a problem. So if you take medication in the morning, do the push catch and coffee enema in the evening, or vice versa. Say you take medication in the evening, maybe you take birth control in the evening, do the push, catch, and coffee enema system in the morning. Now, if you're not on any medication, then that's not going to be a problem. If you're not on anything, that could be neutralized. Again, medication is going to be the biggest thing. Supplements could be another thing you could consider, but this again is going to work pretty naturally with most supplements you'd be taking, other than something like a pathogen protocol, which you don't want to neutralize any of the herbs inside of a pathogen protocol. Then just take it away from anything else that you are taking. But if you're taking vitamin D or any type of supplements like that, I wouldn't worry so much about that. Here's the other caveat. If your estrogen is actually already low and it's not high, then when you do the liver detox, it's not going to make those hormones go higher, right? So it can help detox excess estrogen, which is the most common thing that I see in my practice, women and men dealing with, is going to be excess estrogen opposed to not enough. But if you don't have enough estrogen, and that's one of the things that's actually driving your symptoms, then the liver protocol, while it will help you detox other toxins that could cause inflammation and just general badness, you want to have a more specific protocol that can support low estrogen. And I do very different things with that with my clients. So that's just something to keep in mind, is that while the liver detox protocol is really helpful for a broad range of things, depending on what you have going on in your health, you might need to get more specific. And that's when I turn to lab testing with my clients, so that we're not guessing, well, are your symptoms coming from high or low estrogen? Is it coming from a parasite? Is it coming from heavy metals? We do all the testing in the foundations program, so we're not guessing, and we know exactly what changes we're trying to make. That being said, the liver protocol is something that I do with so many people, even without lab testing, because it's safe and because you can get a lot of positive ramifications or results even without knowing specifically what someone needs. But ultimately, if you do this liver detox protocol, or even the full liver support protocol that I have for free for you to follow, and you feel better but not your best, or you feel maybe not even any different at all, you most likely need that deeper testing that's going to tell you exactly what's going on in your body, so that you can do the specific protocols to actually change that and not guess. So that's my big caveat. But otherwise, the answer is no. You cannot detox too quickly when you're dealing with natural processes of the body. Your body is super smart. It knows exactly how much estrogen it wants to keep around, and you are merely enabling your liver to function at its optimal level if it's not already. And that is the big thing. I will also say the podcast episode I've linked in here with Eileen Durfee on coffee enemas and the science behind them, she actually does a coffee enema every day, and she's been on this kick of like doing a 30-day coffee enema detox, and she's okay. And I've again never had any of my clients had any problems with it. So that is my answer. I hope you enjoy it. Want to ask your own question and get it answered right here on the Better Belly podcast? I have great news for you. Just head on over to betterbellytherapies.com/askallison, and you can leave a recording yourself and get your own burning question answered here on the podcast. Just head on over to betterbellytherapies.com/askallison or click the link in the show notes. Also, if you love this content and want to have more interactions with me and my team, I want to invite you to join my free Facebook community group. Just go to betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook and you can get more support, community, and interaction with people just like you and my team. I'd love to see you in there. Just go to betterbellytherapies.com/Facebook or click the link in the show notes. Thanks for joining today, and I hope to see you next week.